Shalom. Well, the high holidays are upon us. Rosh Hashanah starts this evening. And one of the most iconic symbols of Rosh Hashanah is the shofar, the ram's horn. Ram's horn is sounded on Rosh Hashanah in a very pageantary ceremony. And it is sounded again as the last thing you hear at the end of the Ne'ilah service, the concluding service on Yom Kippur. So everybody sees the shofar blower standing there, and everybody hears the beautiful sounds of the shofar. I'm not sure that people give a lot of thought to the person who's making the sounds, the shofar blower. First, it's not necessarily a mitzvah to blow the shofar. The blessing for the shofar blowing ends with lishmoa kol shofar, to hear the sounds of the shofar. So without the shofar blower, there can be no mitzvah. But the mitzvah is to hear the sounds. The shofar blower wants to make the sounds as perfectly as possible. And he wants to have his thoughts on what he's doing and his thoughts on the more spiritual aspects of that. The followers of the Baal Shem Tov believe that these notes, you should meditate on specific kavanot, intentions, when you blew the shofar. And this was the case with Reb Wolf, one of the Baal Shem Tov's followers. Reb Wolf, would you honor us this year by blowing the shofar at the Rosh Hashanah service? Oh, of course, Rebbe. Even though I don't believe that I'm really qualified, if you would teach me intentions, kavanot, that what I should meditate upon while I'm blowing the shofar, I would be most grateful. So for the 2 weeks prior to Rosh Hashanah, the Baal Shem Tov taught Reb Wolf the meditations, the kavanot, the intentions for blowing the shofar. Reb Wolf didn't want to do anything wrong, so he wrote down these kavanot on a piece of paper. The Baal Shem Tov noticed, Reb Wolf, why are you writing down the kavanot? It's really not wise to write such secrets down. And besides, I'm sure when the time comes you will remember them perfectly. Reb Wolf was not so sure. So he finished writing the kavanot down on a piece of paper, and he took the piece of paper and put it in his pocket. The day of Rosh Hashanah came, and as Reb Wolf was making his way to the synagogue, to the shul, a sudden gust of wind blew the piece of paper out of his pocket. The service began. The time for the blowing of the shofar was at hand. Reb Wolf got up, took his shofar out of its velvet bag, and started to go up to the bima, and he froze. The note, the piece of paper, was gone. He checked all of his pockets. He looked everywhere. He couldn't find this piece of paper. He says, oh my, how am I going to remember? But there was no time for that. He had to go up on the bima to blow the shofar. All the people were standing there looking at him, anticipating the sounds of the shofar. And the anticipation grew as Reb Wolf put the shofar up to his lips, but he was thinking, and not only did I lose the note, but I don't remember any of the kavanot whatsoever. But still, he took his shofar and he put it up to his lips. And he was very upset. And he was heartbroken that he didn't know the kavanot. And he started to cry, and tears were running down his face. But he didn't have time to worry, because the shofar calls were being called, and he had to blow the shofar. When he was done blowing the shofar, he sat down. At the end of the service, the Baal Shem Tov came up to him. Reb Wolf. In the palace of the king, there are many doors, and each door has its own special key to open the door. But there's a way to open all of the doors with one simple thing, and that is an axe. Just in that way, there are gates to the heavenly palace. The kavanot for the shofar are the keys to these heavenly gates to gain access to the heavenly palace. But just like the axe, a broken and humble heart can open all of the doors to the heavenly palace. Reb Wolf, this is what you did when you blew the shofar. That is my story. And to all of you who are watching this, Shana Tova, may you be inscribed in the book of life for the coming year. Shana Tova.